All right, so last time we talked about the three gunas from the Bhagavad Gita, right? You've got Sattva, which is all about balance, Rajas, the energy of action, and Tamas, that feeling of inertia. But that brings up a really interesting puzzle. We feel trapped by these forces all the time, stuck in anxiety or just unable to get off the couch. And yet, there are no actual chains, are there? So what's really going on here?
And that is the exact question Krishna gets into. I mean, if these are just the basic energies of nature, kind of like gravity or electricity, how in the world do they manage to make us feel so, well, bound? So let's dig in, because the answer is probably not what you're thinking.
Okay, so here's the big reveal, the central idea of this whole explainer. The problem isn't the gunas themselves. It's not even what we do. The real trap is way sneakier. It's all about identification. It's that moment we mistake a passing mood for our permanent identity.
You know, this is where most of us get it wrong. We think, oh, I'm stuck because I'm doing too much, or I'm lazy and not doing enough. We blame our actions. But what the source material is saying is, no, that's not it. The real chain isn't the doing, it's the identifying with the state that's making you do it. Big difference. And it's so subtle how it starts. Let's say you have a moment of genuine peace and clarity. That's sought for showing up. But then your mind jumps in and goes, I am a calm person. See what happened there? The second you say I am, you've just grabbed onto a passing cloud and claimed it as your own. That's the first link in the chain. And hey, it's the same deal with Rajas. You get this burst of energy, you're super productive, you're crushing your to-do list, but then the ego steps in and says, I am a driven person, I'm an achiever. And just like that, who you are becomes tied to always being in motion, always getting results. And you guessed it, the exact same trap exists with Tamas. You have a few slow days, you feel sluggish, and your mind just concludes, well, I guess I'm just lazy, or I'm not a motivated person. We take this temporary state of inertia and we weld it onto our sense of self. And that's the bottom line, right there. Ownership is bondage. Just think of the gunas like the weather passing through your mind. It can be sunny, stormy, or foggy. But the second you point to the storm and say, I am the storm, well, now you're stuck in it. Now, this is fascinating. Let's break down how each guna does this, and we'll start with the most deceptive one of all. You'd think being in a state of goodness and clarity would be total freedom, right? But Sattva can build the most beautiful, most refined cage you've ever seen. I mean, come on, look at this stuff. Clarity, peace, a joy in just understanding things. Who wouldn't want that? These are amazing qualities. This is the state we're all aiming for, right? It's the good one. It all sounds fantastic. So what's the catch? How could something that feels so right, so good, actually be a form of bondage? It just doesn't seem to make any sense. Well, here's the twist. The bondage comes from being attached to that feeling of goodness. The ego is a master of disguise, and it just loves to hide inside our virtues. We become the spiritual one, the calm one. And that creates this low-level anxiety, a fear of losing that calm. We start avoiding things that might mess with our vibe. It's a gorgeous, golden cage, but it's still a cage. Now, Rajas and Tamas, their chains are a little less subtle. While Sattva uses a golden chain, Rajas yanks you forward with non-stop desire, and Tamas just weighs you down like an anchor. You can just see the difference so clearly here. Take a look at that internal lie row for a second. With Rajas, the lie is always, just one more thing, then I'll be happy, which of course leads to constant agitation. And with Tamas, the lie is, it's too much, I can't deal with it, which leads to total stagnation. Nothing gets solved because you're not even willing to look at it. Okay, so if owning these states is the problem, how do we get out of it? Well, the path to freedom isn't about trying to get rid of the gunas. You can't. They're part of nature. The whole game is just to change your relationship to them. You shift from owning to simply observing. And it all comes down to a simple but powerful shift in how you talk to yourself. On the left, you've got these heavy, fixed statements. That's just my personality. But look at the right side. The language becomes lighter, more observational. I notice Rajas is active right now. This isn't just playing with words. It's a profound shift. You're no longer the state itself. You're the one who is aware of the state. So how can you actually do this in your life? It's really just 3 simple steps. First, just notice what state you're in. Are you feeling clear, restless, heavy? Second, and this is the most important part, catch yourself before you say I am. And finally, just replace it with a simple, neutral observation. Ah, it looks like Rajas is operating, or, okay, Tamas is present.
And when you start practicing this, the payoff is huge. You stop identifying with tamas, and suddenly the shame around being lazy starts to fade. You stop identifying with sattva, and that subtle spiritual pride just dissolves. Your clarity actually becomes more stable because you're not desperately trying to hold on to it. At the end of the day, the real you, the observer, the knower, gets to stay free, just watching the show without getting lost in the characters.
So when you really get it, you see the gunas aren't villains trying to chain you up. They only bind us when we make a simple mistake, a case of mistaken identity. By learning to just watch the show, we can feel the energy, the rest, and the clarity without being captured. And this, of course, brings up the ultimate question. If we aren't any of these states, then who are we? What does it actually mean to go beyond the gunas? We'll get into that next time.